Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Fitzgerald's Hyundai in Clearwater, Florida. Not so sunny today, but we definitely have a car here that's going to brighten up your screen. This is a 2019 Hyundai Veloster R Spec, and it is finished in this beautiful sunset orange color. Let's talk a little bit about Hyundai. Hyundai's been around since 1987 here in the United States. They started off with the Hyundai Excel. You had two flavors, hatchback or sedan. Really weren't known for being the best cars, but that's where they got their start. From there, things just started spinning out of control for them in a good way. And to be honest with you, it's almost like the Rocky story, because what Hyundai has done to the Japanese car companies is what the Japanese car companies once did to the American car companies in the 70s. You get a lot of value, you get a lot of amenities, and you get that warranty that is second to none. 5 years, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 10-year on the powertrain at a great price. In 2011, they decided to change up their lineup a little bit. They got rid of the Hyundai Tiburon and they brought out the Hyundai Veloster. Since then, they've gone from just a naturally aspirated engine, they came out with a turbocharged Veloster, and now fast forward to 2019, you have a few different flavors, including that ultimate, that Hyundai Veloster N, up to 275 horsepower. But let's focus on this R Spec and see what do you get and what is that value, especially when you compare it to something like the Veloster N. So when looking at this 2019 R Spec, I really just like overall, for 2018, they did a redesign. They totally changed it up. Love the front fascia. I really like what's going on with the headlights. You can see the LED marker lights. And then as we drop down, you do have a faux vent here, which I am gonna zonk. I don't know why this has to be here, but they do have a functional one on the side. I think this would look much more cleaner if this was not here and you just brought it right into that side duct. As we come across, I really like what Hyundai's doing with the open grille on the Veloster. Really separates it from the rest of the hatchbacks, because in the end, this thing is a hatchback. It's not a four-door hatchback, it's a three-door hatchback, but we'll get to that in a second. I do like this lower lip spoiler that goes from right side all the way across. I think it comes out just enough. I think it's also great the way that they took that beautiful sunset orange and brought it into these two open areas here. Because remember, behind this grille, there's an intercooler. This is a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine putting out 201 horsepower. My only other gripe with the front is I would like to see an R Spec badge up front, because you'll see when we get to the rear, there is an R Spec badge. As we go up onto the hood, very, very attractive looking hood, especially on a smaller car. You can see the really distinct body lines that come from each side, and then you have a nice mid-raised portion of it. Very, very spot on. Now with the R Spec, you are going to get certain things that you're not going to find on a lot of the other Velosters. One of those things is going to be these wheels. This is an 18-inch wheel, very attractive. Love the design of it, gloss black, and I like the way they bring in those extra touches of having that sunset orange color brought off the body onto the center cap here. Now with the R Spec, you're not getting any extra braking performance. So this is the same type of setup as a Veloster Turbo. But one of the biggest things for the Veloster is out back. When we get there, it has a multi-link rear suspension, which makes it handle a lot better than previous Velosters. Let's go ahead and continue down the side. I love the body lines that they have here, especially this one that comes all the way into that front fender. I think it's very smart that they take that color, splash it onto the mirror. This being an R Spec, there is no turn signal built in, but I think it was smart that they went flat black rather than gloss. As we go up onto the roof area, no sunroof with this particular model, but remember, with the Veloster lineup, they have about 30 different flavors of Velosters that you could choose from, with different options where you could get a panoramic sunroof and whatnot. As we drop down with this particular model, I like that gray. I'm so glad they didn't just do black. It's like a smoke gray lower sill, just like that front lip spoiler, comes all the way to the rear. And here's something that's just an extra nice touch. I like the kick up, and I also like the way they have the turbo badge there. And the turbo script that they use reminds me of the turbo script that was very popular in the 1980s on a lot of different cars. So I really, really like that. Now here's where that magic for the Veloster happens. If you know anything about the Tiburon was a two-door car. And one of the problems with a two-door car, especially a small one, is getting into the back seat. With the Veloster lineup, it doesn't matter which one you go with, Turbo, Veloster N, whatever, you actually have a third door. And the way that Hyundai does it, they blend it in so perfectly. So you have your handle here, and it opens up very nicely to give that rear passenger room to get in and out. 1, 2, 3. Smart touches on this car. As we come to the rear, probably my favorite part. I like the front. I love the rear end of these Velosters, especially the Turbo. Great taillights. This is something that really mimics a Lamborghini Huracan. I know you think I'm crazy saying Hyundai Veloster and Lamborghini in the same sentence, but these taillights look very similar, the design to them, of a Lamborghini Huracan. I like the roof spoiler here. It's got a little bit of character with the different lines that are built into it. And then as we drop down, I like what they did with the hatch. Very, very small. So this portion's gonna open. There's that R Spec badge that I was telling you about. I would like to see that on the nose of the car. But as we drop down, you have a very, very nice flat black rear portion of the bumper. I think that's smart because it trims everything up and it looks very sporty. And then you have a very distinctive rear diffuser back here. Very, very large, silver, and then you have that traditional twin exhaust. Now for the new turbos, Veloster turbos, look at this. See when I hit that and it shakes? That's the actual exhaust. If you go up to say a 2015 Veloster Turbo and touch the tailpipe, it's not really the tailpipe, it's just a decorative piece. So this is the actual exhaust. The Turbo has different exhaust than your standard Veloster, and then at all four corners, you're gonna have a specifically tuned suspension. But like I mentioned, underneath these rear fenders, you have all new multi-link rear suspension, no torsion beam on the pre-existing Velosters. But let's go ahead, pop the hood on this Turbo and see what we're working with. All right guys, here we are underneath the hood of the 2019 Veloster Turbo R Spec. Like I was saying, that's that 1.6 liter inline 4 turbocharged engine. At the end of the day, it's putting out 201 horsepower, 195 foot-pounds of torque. I hope you like rolling through your own gears, because if you want an R Spec, it only comes with a manual transmission. If you go Veloster Turbo, you do have the choice of a 7-speed DCT or the 6-speed manual. This one has a special B&M short throw shifter kit that is added. That is part of the R Spec setup. MPGs, 28 in the city, 34 in the highway. If you're wondering, well, how much does this thing weigh? It weighs about 2,900 pounds, and guess what? 0 to 60 in about 6.7 seconds. So let's go ahead. We looked at the engine. Let's go ahead and see what this R Spec sounds like. Let's go check it out. All right guys, we're inside the 2019 Veloster Turbo R Spec. If you're wondering, well, how much does this cost? What does this cost, Joe? MSRP is around $22,000 the way that you see this one sitting. So you could see the value, because remember, Veloster N, still a lot of value, but you're looking at more $28,000. That's a $6,000 difference. Let's see what you get. Let's go to the door panels. This is where I'm gonna have to give it a large zonk. Okay, the door panel is all black, I get it, but that material up near the top of the door panel by the base of the window, harder than a rock, harder than a piece of steel. Same thing for the armrest. You have this rubberized armrest, and it's not very pleasurable to stick your arm anywhere near it. I would like to see a little bit more silver, maybe some of the orange color from outside, or if you'll see in a second, there is some yellow trim in here that I think they could have splashed onto the door. As we come inside, more of that hard plastic. Now it looks good, it's just very hard. I do like this touch. It's like a smoke gray. I like the checkered flag in there. Very, very nicely done. I also like the style of the air vents. And you can see how there's a little bit of silver here. Bring that over to the door. Very, very nice size screen. I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up. Hopefully the stereo doesn't blast, but there's our screen. It's that iPad style, very, very easy to use, very, very easy to navigate through. It's got that iPhone swiping ability. You could go into driving info. You can see the beautiful colors, the fonts, the numbers, all that great stuff. So that's really nice that they have. As we drop down, there's that yellow R Spec. So this is something that you get with the R Spec. Love the color. I wish they just used it a little bit more. Controls are simple to understand and just easily laid out. You don't have dual climate control, but this AC, very, very easy. And I do like the way the knobs have a click as you go through each one of those. When we drop down, wonderful size cubby area. It's actually quite deep for a small car. USB and a 12 volt, actually 2 USBs and a 12 volt. And I like the way that they're covered up like that. Here's where we're talking about with that B&M shifter. So this is a special shift knob. It is metal. So on a hot day, you might want to put a sock over this or something because it's metal and it's going to probably burn your hand if you don't have some type of sun shade. But with that B&M shifter, it is a shorter throw. I mean, look at this. When I go from third to fourth stops right here. So this is definitely a short throw kit from B&M that's been added by Hyundai to make your drive more sporty. As we come down the center console, more of that hard plastic. It's very plain, but hey, like I said, price point. You do have, by the shifter, a sport button. So when you hit this button, that's gonna affect how the drive is for you. It's gonna quicken the throttle response. It's gonna quicken the steering and whatnot. There's that rubber armrest again. This one's a tad softer than the door, but nothing to write home about. Open it up, good size cubby, but no power sources in here. All that's gonna be taking place up front. Seats. Seats actually look pretty good. They're cloth. I like the yellow trim, and I like the way they went darker gray in these sections here. It really gives it a more sporty look. But you know what? Veloster N even has cloth seats, so I would like to see a little bit of leather or at least an option, but this car is about giving you performance at a great value. Come on over here and I'll show you the business end of the performance behind the wheel. All right guys, business time. I do like the seating position. Everything is manual on the seat, and that's okay at this price point. We're talking about MSRP at $22,000. Steering wheel. It's a good size wheel. It's a good looking wheel. I like that gold yellowish trim that's been brought in onto the wheel. And I like the way the buttons are very easily readable and just easy to navigate through. Gauges. I like what's going on there. We got some nice gray. They're backlit. There's some nice font to them. You do have that info section in the center, which you can put up speedometer. You have your lane keep assist, all the driver aids and whatnot. Plus, you can see how it says sport. I have it in sport mode right now. So that's a very nice touch. Other than that, the seat is comfortable to sit in, and bolstering, it's there, but it's not the type of bolstering that is going to be on a Recaro seat or something like that. But you got a nice amount of bolstering to where you can take this down a twisty road, because that's what this is all about. Even the pedals. We got our 3 pedals. They're finished in a nice aluminum color. I like that. And look at the size of the dev pedal. That is going to allow you to support yourself as you're going down that twisty road in this front wheel drive car. But why don't we go ahead and check out the back seat and see what is it like for a 6-foot guy to sit back there. All right guys, time to show off that third door, that accessibility that wasn't on the Tiburon, but it is on the Veloster. Now here's an interesting fun fact. Would you believe that depending on the market that this Veloster is being sold in, Hyundai actually makes 2 separate, totally different bodies for the Veloster. So if you live in England, that third door is going to be on the other side. It's not on the same side, and that is just something that they do to have it be uniform depending on what country you live in. As we open up the door, you can see a lot easier to get in and a lot more space than having to have that passenger slide the front seat forward. I do like the way they brought the material from the front, the design, to the rear seats, just like a lot of other great cars. But you know what? The Type R doesn't even do that. Remember, the design in the front seats does not match the rear seats, but it does on this R Spec. Now it's that time. What is it like to get in? 6 feet tall. Joe Reddy squeezing into the back of this thing. So my grumbles were honest. It's a little hard to get back here if you're as tall as I am. If you're taller than 6 foot, good luck with that. But you know what? Even though my head is close to the inside of the ceiling in here, I can get to the mall, I could get to the movie theater, I could get to dinner back here without too much complaining. Anything further than that, I wouldn't want to be back here. It's a little bit claustrophobic for somebody my size. Let's go ahead and we're going to take a look. I'm going to try to get out of this thing. And we're going to take a look at the cargo areas. Because remember, on a hatchback, that's going to be one of those great parts of owning a car like this, It's real nice where they hide the button. Right underneath this little tab where the rear window wiper is, opens up, and it's a drop down in there, but it's very, very wide and open. The seats do the 60-40 split, so you have lots of room. The only reason I'm gonna zonk this is the height of the opening. This is gonna be a problem depending on what you're trying to squeeze back here. Other than that, you could see that there is usable space in this R Spec, and you could see that you even get custom floor mats that say Veloster R Spec. It's just little touches like that. That's why I'm confused why there's not some softer materials and some of that nice yellow gold trim splashed a little bit more in the interior. But let's go ahead, get to the best part. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this Veloster R Spec for a spin.
Hey guys, we're leaving Fitzgerald's Hyundai, and we're in the 2019 Hyundai Veloster Turbo. This is the R Spec, second gear, roll on it. Great sound coming from the back and the front of the car, and that short throw shifter is really, really nice. And I'm telling you, even though that the shift knob is gonna probably burn your hand off in the sun, it's weighted, so it's got a nice throw, and that actually helps with shifting ability, believe it or not, and just overall shifter feel is having a weighted shift knob, which this one is definitely weighted with the B&M short throw shift kit. Overall, I'm impressed with the visibility. Out the front windshield, lots of space. Even with that smaller back window, you can see very clear. It's not like the old generation Veloster where it was like this split look to it. It was kind of funky. Side window's great, side mirrors are awesome. Love the steering wheel. Where it's just losing it for me is they have some of this gold yellowish trim here and there. It needs to be more widespread. I like how easy it is to gain access to the touchscreen. Very easy to do. And the seats are supportive and comfortable, which is a big, big plus. If you are wondering, is your right leg gonna hate you if you buy one of these cars? No, it's very, very light clutch, great pickup point, and very, very short pedal feel, so to it. But down to second gear, very nice, tip it in here. Remember, this is front wheel drive, or roll on the throttle, we're in. Let me go ahead and put it in sport mode real quick, make sure we're in sport. It's rolling out here, like I said, very good clutch pedal on this thing. Roll on the throttle, like the sound, like the short throws on the shifts. That's what I really, really like about this car. Steering feel, it has a great weight to it. I am in sport mode. Steering has a great weight, and I'm telling you, if you drove the previous generation turbo, Veloster Turbo, this thing handles night and day difference. I could actually feel what the rear and the front of the car are communicating in unison to me through this wheel. And because it has a nice weight and feel to it, it allows you to be able to pick up the pace and feel comfortable while you're doing that. You're not going to get all this numbness and wallowing effect from the suspension, and that's good news. Suspension is a little firm, but not really too bad in the turbo, and just something that if you're going this route, you're going to want a little bit extra firmness to handle those turns and whatnot. I like the sound from the exhaust, not obnoxious, just enough to where it sounds good. But let me go ahead and go through this little right-hand bend here. Very, very smooth handling. I really am liking how the car tracks. It's not scattering all over the place. Brakes feel really good, but I like the shifter in it. The shifter with the short throw kit on it feels really nice. I'm curious why they didn't put this shift kit in the Veloster N, because I really think that would pay big dividends there. As we roll out, go ahead, first gear. That's why you gotta be careful. People cutting across lanes. Very, very smooth. The boost comes in at a low RPM. I'm gonna say probably around 2,500, 2,800 RPM. You do get your full suite of all the safety features, which is really, really great for this vehicle. And with the color, boy, are you driving something very eye-catching. Even though the controls are simple for the radio and AC, to me that seems like a good thing, because you know what? If I need to adjust the blower speed, I know exactly where it is. It's easy to get to. I have all that connectivity right there down in that cubby hole, so that's a nice touch as well. But I like overall the layout of the Veloster Turbo. It's very well thought out. It's just, let's have a little bit softer material. A lot of this material, it's all that hard plastic. All right, guys, hopefully this opened your eyes to the Veloster Turbo. If you can't, for whatever reason, or don't want to go the Veloster N route, you do have other options to where you can still have a sporty drive and a fun drive, and at a great price. MSRP $22,000. Really, I think they hit the nail on the head with this one. Yeah, are there zonks with the interior? Sure, but you know what? You gotta value everything equally. You gotta look at that price point. You got to look at the overall value, and I think with this R Spec Veloster Turbo, you're definitely getting that. But even just driving slow through the parking lot, the clutch pickup is great. Pedal placement is really nice. So I'm thinking that overall this is a really great vehicle, especially for somebody who doesn't want to blow a lot of money on a fun car to drive. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up since we're back, so I will see you in a split second.
All right, guys, it's been a wonderful day here at Fitzgerald's Hyundai. Definitely got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to Igor, everybody here at the dealership, allowing us full access to their great vehicles. If these are the types of things you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. Check out my different forms of social media. You know what they're called. It's all Rady's Rides original content all the time. If you want to get yourself some merch, click the link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. And then, of course, we got to give it up for Big Guns McGee. He's doing his thing here. Guess what? Also check out his other things he's doing. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about his Instagram page. So definitely check out the photography that he's doing at Mosh Photos. I'll put that in the video. You'll love what he's capturing with his eye and on his camera. But anyways, thank you, Tom, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.